everybody. Different kind of video this go round. I didn't feel like being inside in the vault behind the bar today. It's nice outside. I got some quiet time to just relax before I go back to work. So I wanted to talk to y'all today about something. This is actually a topic for last week's show that we didn't get around to. So I decided to do it this way. It actually involves money, fatherhood, basketball, the NBA, oddly enough, and acting, all rolled into one. Hollywood in general. What we talk about is nepotism. So, if you don't know how this goes or how it all intersects, then let me break it down for you real quick. So, over the past few weeks, almost a month now, there's been this big debate about whether nepotism is a good thing, bad thing. Should it be used in everyday life, everyday business, in the NBA, especially, specifically in the NBA, with Bronny James getting drafted. So if you don't know who Bronny James is, that's LeBron James' son. He was drafted number 55 in the second round for the NBA draft. A whole lot of people saying he wasn't ready. And the way he's been playing over the past few games in the G League or the Summer League, they're right. He isn't ready. Bronny James should not have ever been drafted, right? He only played a handful of games before having a heart condition, which sidelined his college career. He was only there for 1 full year at USC, and like I said, that was cut short because of the heart condition and having to be in the hospital. He's not ready to be in the NBA. No person who understands basketball in any fashion see him play and can say that he's ready for the NBA. He's not. It's not even close. He's not ready for the NBA. He was drafted and by my optics, from what I can tell, he was drafted simply because LeBron wanted him drafted. He sent the ultimatum to the Lakers that either you draft him or I'm gone. You can obviously see that that's what happened, right? Anybody who says otherwise is just LeBron James slappy or a Lakers slappy, and you just don't want to acknowledge the truth or the fact of what's going on right there. But yeah, he should have never been drafted. So the only reason he was drafted so LeBron could play with his son and have that something to go with his legacy, and his legacy is tarnished now because of that. But that's a whole different topic. We'll get to that maybe at another time. As far as Hollywood go, we see nepotism all the time, right? Just a few weeks ago, even up until today, there has been articles left and right about the young man who plays Huey on The Boys. He's admitted, like, yeah, I'm a nepo baby, and it's not that that's something new. We all know that. People who have power and have money and have the ability to affect any type of choice whatsoever, they use that power and influence and money to have things happen and doors open for their children. It's nothing new. It's been happening for so long. It's commonplace. Do I like it? I mean, not really, because, people, that's kind of one of the cornerstones of what the United States is built on, right? Or what humanity is built on. You get, whatever you get, you earn. You work hard for it. You overcome. But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to nepotism, you might as well let it go. If you're not in the understanding that it is a thing and it's going to always happen, and you should be doing it too, then you're on the outside looking in, and you're quite the fool for it. I'll explain that in simpler terms. As a father, I love my children dearly. I would do anything for my children if it meant that they would have a better life than what I had growing up. Growing up in Detroit, it was me and my siblings and my mom and our grandmother in our house. And my mom did everything she possibly could to give us a better life, to give us a better chance at life going forward. And God bless her. She's gone on to heaven, and I appreciate everything she did. Now, for my children, I have a son and a daughter. If you think for 1 second that I won't do anything and everything to open doors for them, to give them a chance at something better, you're crazy. Because as a father, that is my first and primary goal, to make sure that they are okay, to make sure that they have every advantage and every opportunity that they can possibly have. Do you have the right to be upset because LeBron James wielded his influence over the Lakers organization and got his son drafted? Are you going to be mad at it? Yes, you should be mad at it. And if you are mad, I'm not mad at you that you are mad. Be mad. But the fact of the matter is it was going to happen. It was going to happen. Everybody knew going into that draft. That was the big talking point. Where was LeBron going to go? And that was always a sticking point of where was Bronny going to go. Now, I think if Bronny got drafted as the very last pick of the NBA draft by some random team, and then LeBron left the Lakers to go play with his son, I don't think we would be having this conversation. But because he was drafted so high, and for his skill set and his ability, 55 is very high. He should not have been drafted before so many other players. Yes, it's the second round, and there shouldn't be any type of expectation heaped upon a second rounder. But because of who his father is, and because of the optics of it, because we know that his father had him drafted specifically so he can play with him, that's why there's so much expectation on him. And it's rightfully deserved. All the criticism that he's going to get until he proves that he should be in the NBA, it's well deserved. He deserves every bit of criticism, and LeBron deserves every bit of criticism for it too. But the fact that that LeBron wielded his influence to have him drafted, I personally am not mad at it, because that's what happens. People who have money and have power to influence every industry across the board will do so every chance they get. And you being mad about it is asinine. What you need to do is figure out how you can get some of that power and influence for yourself to wield it for your own children, for your own family. Nepotism and cronyism is a thing. It has always been a thing. We all do it. Want to know how we all do it? What do you think generational wealth is? If you build a company right now, are you telling me if you look at your own children and you say, I don't think my children are ready, you're going to hand that company off to somebody else? No, you're not. What you're going to do is you're going to get your child into your company, and you're going to force them to get ready. Whether they're ready or not, you're going to throw them into the fire and tell them, hey, sink or swim. And you're going to make sure that they swim, because you're not going to hand off your hard-built company to somebody else. Now, does the Lakers belong to LeBron? No. But in an extension, in a way, because of clutch sports, yeah, it kind of does. LeBron has that much influence. Or if he didn't, there was no way Bronny would have got drafted. You should be doing the exact same thing. Generational wealth does not get built by the rich and the powerful and the influential passing it down to other families that are not connected to them and saying, hey, pass that to your kids. It doesn't work that way. Generational wealth is built because a person who has built that gives it and leaves it for their family members who comes behind them. End of story. Doesn't matter if it's hard cash or liquid cash. It doesn't matter if it's a company. It doesn't matter if it's a name that they can use to wield influence. Everybody that is trying to quote unquote build generational wealth does that, and we should be doing it, especially black people. The stat that they've been passing around for a few months now, actually for a few years now, is that by 2035, the amount that black people leave to the generation behind them will be 0. Big fat goose egg. Why is that? Because we don't practice economics and building wealth and growing the same way every other group does. We still believe in this idea of the American dream, which is only a dream. You have to be asleep to believe it. That's not how it works. It is a dog-eat-dog world. It is grab everything you can get and leave it to the generation behind you, screw everybody else. If you don't believe that, just look out the window. Just look how politics is running. Just look how sports is run. Sports is a business first and foremost. It is not about, oh, this guy has the most skill. 99 times out of 100, sure, but there's a whole lot of nepotism and cronyism mixed into that as well. So I don't particularly care that Bronny James got drafted. You want my honest opinion on his skill? He's trash. That's the honest to God truth. I've seen him play. He has no defense. He has very little offensive skill. He is not ready for the NBA. If he had gone back to USC, stayed there for another year, maybe even another 2 years, I'm pretty sure he would have developed enough skill to be drafted by any NBA team. Then LeBron could have just said, hey, I want to go play with my son. I want to have that honor, that privilege before I retire. So I'm leaving the Lakers, and that's where I'm going. And then we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the problem is we're having this conversation because that's not how it went down. Bronny was drafted 55th by the Lakers, which everybody said was going to happen at some point in this draft. And that's, I think, was what pissing people off. So is it nepotism? Absolutely it is. But I'm not mad at it. And the truth of the matter is, the only victim in this is not going to be LeBron, but it's going to be the NBA overall, number one, because it just shows that It's not about skill. It's about selling the idea of a chance of winning a championship to fans, so fans will just keep buying tickets, keep buying jerseys, and just so that they can make revenue, ad dollars off of stories, of building storylines within NBA. The other person that's going to suffer from this is Bronny James himself. He's never going to get a fair shake, no matter what he does. If he goes out there and develops into a great player and plays way above even what he's doing now, which he can't get any further lower, in my opinion. Just say he averages 15 points and a handful of assists or a rebound or two here and there a game over the next season. Nobody's still going to give him a fair shake or a fair assessment. Well, I will. So we'll talk about that at the end of the NBA season after his first season. And the other person that this is really going to affect, and I think is the biggest victim of this all, is LeBron James's other son. There is no way any NBA team is going to draft him and not be criticized for drafting him. It's always going to be, hey, you only did that because he's LeBron James' son. And the crazy part about it is his other son, which I believe his name is Bryce. I can't remember right now. Forgive me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But I believe his name is Bryce. Bryce is taller than his brother, Bronny, and is a fantastic player compared to his brother. He has way more skill than his brother. Way more. It's not even close. But they're never going to give him a fair shot. And he's the biggest victim of this all. He's not bothering anybody. He's not talking to anybody. He's working on his game. He's doing his own thing. But because of his father's meddlesome nature and because of the spotlight shown on his brother, simply because of his father's meddlesome nature, everybody's going to look at him sideways, and he's never going to get a fair shake either for something that he had no involvement in whatsoever. Those are the three individuals / organizations that's going to pay for it. And you, the fan, honestly, you're going to pay for it too, because the NBA is not getting any better. You can't look at me and tell me that the NBA is as good now as it was in the past. It's not. The competition is trash. The players are the best players in the league, top 5. Honestly, 4 of them are foreign. 1 of them is American. That tells you something. We don't even teach enough fundamentals at the basic level from AA all the way up through college. That's why Tim Duncan is in my top 5 of all time. Big fundamental is what they called him, and there was a reason for that. Man can play basketball. But those are just my thoughts. You let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and to share and to let me know everything you think about this topic today. I get it. I get why people don't like nepotism, but the fact of the matter is it is the only way to build generational wealth. It's the only way when you have very little to make sure that the next generation behind you, your children, make sure that they have more and to gain more. It is the only way, because you going to work every day ain't gonna cut it. You going to work and being honest and paying taxes, that's not the way the system works. You know that. You know that deep in your heart. It sucks to admit that, but it's the truth. So I'm about to get out of here, so we shall end this episode the same way we end episodes. So my producer, Nikki Rev, who's actually inside hanging out, we'll see you next time. God bless. I love you, and peace. See ya.
Style. Style is the answer.